Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this new video. I hope everyone is doing well, and I'm glad to report that our fan base is growing with every person that I tell about this channel when I'm drunk. Best advertising technique I've ever used, works every time. What's new with me is my hair. I got it done as promised, and it's shorter now. Whatever, short hair, it doesn't really change anything, except it changes everything. Except everything is different. My worldview, my personality, my Pinterest boards, everything has changed. Okay. This video, I will be doing a tattoo tour, which is very exciting, and I hope you want to watch along. I have 8 tattoos, all from very different points in my life and varying levels of soberness and varying motifs and designs and tattoo artists. So, very exciting. Yeah, let's get started. Are you ready to rumble? Okay, so the story of my first tattoo is that once upon a time it was 2020, and I was at a party with my friend Matilde, who had brought her stick and poke stuff. And I had wanted a stick and poke all year long because we had gone to boarding school together, and all the cool girls had stick and pokes, and I was like, I need a stick and poke tattoo. And I was really drunk, and I was like, okay, I want to get something really cool that'll get me respect from my peers. So obviously, I got a tramp stamp because I am very classy and I am very elegant and I am very well thought out when it comes to my plans. To be fair, though, in my defense, I did know that stick and pokes were something that was going to last for like a long time because some people say that stick and pokes are temporary or they'll like fade after a year. But to my credit, I knew that that wasn't true. I decided to get a stick and poke anyway. Luckily, I chose like a cute little simple butterfly, so that's really lucky. Also, it's came out really well, so shout out to my friend Matilde for being an amazing artist. Hope you're doing well, Queen Girl Boss. I actually am considering getting it permanently tattooed instead of just having it be a stick and poke, but we'll have to see in the future. A question I get about this tattoo is also, didn't it hurt? Because like stick and pokes are known to hurt, but luckily, I was so drunk that I did not know. I'm also really lucky that it didn't get infected or anything, considering I didn't know anything about tattoo aftercare or anything. I just kind of lived my life after that, so that's pretty lucky. Don't mind me, just moving around, getting a little comfy. Before I talk about my second tattoo, I just like to say that I am very grateful for the law that you have to be 18 or older to get a tattoo. Because if that were not the case, I would probably be sitting here talking about either a 21 Pilots tattoo, a Harry Potter tattoo, or emo Lisa Simpson. So thank the Lord that there are laws and regulations in place to keep such atrocities from happening. Okay, so for my second tattoo, this time I was over 18 and I wanted to get a real tattoo. However, I didn't know anything about tattooing or flashes or how you find like a good tattoo artist who you want to use or like that they have different styles and stuff like that. I didn't know anything about that. I thought you find a picture or a drawing or something on Pinterest and then you just like send it to an artist and you're like, "Will you do this?" And they say yes and then you just go in and you pay them. I thought that was like all it was to it. So, egg on my face for not educating myself better before going into this. But anyway, my second tattoo, my first real tattoo is this snail, this like woman as a snail, and I got it because I really love biology and I love the outdoors. And I remember when I would visit like Denmark with my family, and we would be walking around in my uncle's garden because he was into gardening a lot. There would be like these big snails everywhere, so I just kind of like thought that was a cool motif. And then I just found this snail girl on Pinterest and got it done. So I apologize to the artist that I stole this from. I couldn't find the picture on Pinterest to like see if there was an ad or something, so sorry. This kind of reminds me of those ads before movies they play where they're like, "Would you download a car?" I guess I would download a car. Sorry. On 2 different occasions, people like stop me to like take a picture of the tattoo because they're like, "Oh, my friend's special interest is snails" or something like that. So that's fun. But I still really do like this tattoo. So lucky. Also, it was a really good placement because it didn't even hurt that much for like my first tattoo because it's a place with a lot of like fat, and like the places that were there's a lot of fat on your body. I think it's like tattoos hurt less there. Of what I'm aware, I don't know. Don't listen to me. I didn't know anything about tattooing until like 2 years ago. So my third tattoo is unfortunately also a Pinterest tattoo done by the same artist that I got the snail by. It's a lava lamp and there's like a lady floating in it. Compared to my style at the time, which was borderline like an e-girl style, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, compared to that, I got out of this really well. However, like the line work I think is shaky and the choice of motif is just like random in general. Um but I don't like I'm not mad at it and I don't regret it. I never get like laser to remove it. It's definitely not something I would get now, especially since it's also like stolen artwork, but it's probably my one of my least favorite, if not like my least favorite tattoo. Oh, hello, Chewy. So this next tattoo, my brain cells actually started forming, and I actually started putting thought behind what I permanently like put on my body. So this is a really surprising change of events. It's these tulips on my arm, which I got in Amsterdam, which is really cliche, but the story does actually have some like sentimental value behind it. So nonchalant Gen Zers, turn off your screens now. Sorry, it's just the cat having to make everything about him as per usual. Anyway, um, I just finished my IB, which is like this 3 year education, and it was absolutely miserable. There was no fun being had in those 3 years. Every month I would cry to my mom, being like, I'm gonna drop out, I can't do it. But I did do it, so that's also a surprising turn of events. So this is the summer. After that, I'm a student. I have my little hat. I've had the best wagon trip ever because in Denmark we have this thing with like whatever. Google it. That's not why we're here. I have like a good sum of money in my bank account. The weather is amazing. I no longer have to do this education that I hate, and I'm just like free, like freedom. Um, so when I was in Amsterdam, I decided to get a tattoo as like a reminder for myself when I'm going through tough times that it does get better. Also, that Amsterdam trip was my first trip away with only friends, and it was one of the best trips of my life. Kespa, Gabby, Jesper, Yippe, and Lirani. If you're out there, I hope you're all doing well. Um, so yeah, that's why I have this tattoo, and I love it a lot. And it's done by a really talented artist, and I'll put her at up here. They do they. I they accept walk-ins. they, oh my god, Cena, 3 years old. Anyway, they accept walk-ins, and she was really nice to talk to. And I also got to pick what kind of like tulips that I wanted. Also, tulips in general are just like one of my favorite flowers. So, all in all, great decision by moi. Love this tattoo. Would recommend if you're ever in Amsterdam going to that tattoo shop. I also got free stickers and a free pin. So. Okay, so my next tattoo is hands down my favorite tattoo. It's also my first custom. I had found this tattoo artist on Instagram that I thought was really good. I loved her style and the way that she drew animals and the way that she drew stars. So I knew I wanted something like that. And I had saved up some money for a tattoo, so I actually had like a good budget. And I really liked the way that my tulip tattoo actually had meaning to me. So I was like, okay, I want to get another tattoo with actual meaning. So I DM'd her pictures of my childhood pets, which are two cats named Cruz and Chloe. RIP to two absolute legends. Hope you're doing well. And I was so impressed by her craftsmanship because I had never gotten a custom tattoo before, so I was kind of afraid I was gonna pull up at my session and either she hadn't done anything or it just didn't look like them and I like couldn't recognize them in the drawing. But it was luckily the absolute opposite. I showed up and she had this amazing sketch ready and she had captured their likeness perfectly. It's like you can kind of see their personalities in the way she's drawn them because Cruzy was very like mischievous and very like playful, and Chloe was very like an elegant, like classy cat. I sound like such a cat lady, but it's true. That's how they were. Um, And she also gave me a lot of free range to like edit whatever I wanted to. Like the reason the star in the black is middle is because no, the reason the star in the middle is black. Got it. Is because it was an idea that I had had, and we implemented it, and it looked really good. And she was super nice, and I have like the biggest friend crush on her. I think she's so cool, and I definitely recommend getting tattooed by her. I'll put her at somewhere up here. Definitely go check her out. I recommend 10 out of 10. So, for my sixth tattoo, you think I would have learned my lesson with my first tattoo. Don't get inked if you've drinked. However, you would be wrong. I found myself at a company party, and everyone had gotten drunk, and there was a group of us that decided to go from the party to a bar. So we all go to this bar, but it's 23 plus, so I can't get in. And they're also drunk. They don't notice that I have not gotten into the bar. So I was like, frick you guys, you will rue the day that you left me on this street because I will go and I will find a party even more epic and even cooler and even more fun. So my boyfriend and I find ourselves at this street that we usually go to when we went drinking at the time. And unfortunately, I noticed a tattoo parlor open at 3 a.m., which is, as everyone knows, a huge red flag. At the time, I was like, oh my god, it's fate. So naturally, we're daring each other to get like, oh, I dare you to get my name, or I dare you to get my initials, or I will if you will, you know. But luckily, I still had this little voice in my head, even though I was absolutely plastered. I still had a little voice in my head being like, no, don't do it, don't do it. Like, still get a tattoo because I was still drunk, so I wasn't like off the idea. But it's just like, don't get a name or initial. That's like rule 101. Nice to know that I still have like a voice of reason when I'm that drunk, so that's comforting. Thank you, mom, for raising me right. We settle on getting this little starfish, which is also from Pinterest. Sorry to all of the artists that I've robbed. Because we both love the ocean. I want to be a marine biologist, and he loves to sail, so it's like it's a cute tattoo. I'm not mad at it, and I don't regret it. And no one got disowned, so what a good story. What good that it had like a happy ending. So for my seventh tattoo, I had gotten into this era of like I don't want all of my tattoos to be custom tattoos. I don't have the creativity or the money for all the tattoos that I want, having to like think up a personal meaning for every single one of them. And then it's just going to end up that I'm going to be like, oh, I got broccoli cheese soup tattooed because when my dad and sister told me that my grandpa died, I was making broccoli cheese soup, which is, by the way, a true story. Anywho, I saw this artist on the Instagram story of the tattoo parlor I had previously been at, and he had this really cool, like vintage French style, kind of like those like old magazines. And it was also a little like pinup girl, the flash that I had seen of the one that I ended up getting. And I've always wanted a pinup girl tattoo that wasn't too vulgar or wasn't like in the American traditional style because I wasn't not like too crazy about that. Also, I had just been to a Metallica concert, so I really wanted something a little more like hardcore, but not anything too like scary. So I thought this was really cool. And in general, I just really loved his aesthetic, which is something that I've decided more to go after instead of having everything be personal. Because you can get like it's still kind of personal in a way that you can see the kind of style that people like. Um, Anyway, he was also really nice, and I love this tattoo. And for some reason, a lot of older men give me compliments on it. I don't know why. Oh, speaking of my tattoo session with this artist, we were talking about how, because I grew up in San Diego, and he was talking about how his ex girlfriend was from San Diego. And then, because I was trying to be funny or something, I don't know, I should never do that again. But I was trying to be funny, so I was like, "Oh, if I ever go back," da, da, da," like I was like shaking my fist and like I don't know why I did that. Okay, but it was really embarrassing, and no one laughed. And I've thought about it every week since then. So if he's seeing this, I apologize. But I'll put his at somewhere so that other people can see his work because he's really talented. Oh, and he's like from Argentina, but he's based in France, so he has a lot of interesting stories. For my newest tattoo that you've seen if you watch my first vlog, and if you haven't watched it, I have 3 videos on my channel and they're like 6 minutes, so get to it. Anyway, I got tattooed by this artist from Poland who was super sweet, but she had made this Nosferatu flash, and I really like Nosferatu because it's like gothic and it's like dark and vintage and romantic, and a lot of my favorite actors are in it, and the vampire from the movie looks like Dr. Eggman from Sonic, so I'm like, what's not to like? And he talks like this. He's like, I want to buy your house. It's like it's basically like that. If you've seen the film, you're probably really scared right now because you're like, oh my god, is she the voice actor? No, it's not a voice actor. It's a real person, by the way. If you'd actually watch the movie, you would know that. Anyway, and before I had been like, I don't want any color tattoos. I don't want any color tattoos because I've heard that it fades poorly and I just don't really think it fits my vibe. And like, I don't really like the way that it looks. But then I started watching one of my favorite vloggers, Sai Loves Frogs, and she only has color tattoos. And I actually thought that it looked really cute. So this time I was open to the idea of having a little bit of color, which is like the red border that's around it. I don't think I will get that much more with color in the future because I do kind of like how if you have mostly black tattoos, it like fits with everything. But I am really happy about this detail of this like it's like a purplish red color. Um, I also really like the kind of Victorian aesthetic that it has, and also it looks like in Denmark there are these like plates you eat off of for like Christmas and Easter, where the art style is also kind of like Victorian, from the romantic era like art style. So it kind of reminded me of that too. And I just like that it's kind of like emo because it's like, oh, they're at a graveyard and like they're wearing bonnets and like everything is black and yeah. I don't know, maybe I just am. Maybe this is just like a circle around because in the start I was like, oh, I would get emo Lisa Simpson, and now I'm like, oh, I like this because it's emo, but it's more understated. Okay, it's a different type of thing, you know. Thank you so much for watching my tattoo tour 2025 because I am planning on getting more tattoos in the future when I have like the money for it and when I know what kind of tattoos I want to get, and also when it's not summer because it is really impractical to get tattooed during the summer when you can't go swimming or like tan in the sun because of it. So, and because of my new tattoo, I have definitely been suffering wearing long pants in the sun, but whose fault is it? I don't know. But when I find them, it's over for them. Anywho, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next Sunday/Monday. And I hope you enjoyed this more video format. And then we'll see what I cook up for my next video. Anyway, bye. Also wants to say goodbye.